sad occasion to meet them. They're wonderful people, but I wish I hadn't met them under those circumstances. But they're here to share their son's experience and their experience with you. So please join with me in welcoming Jeff and Lori Wilfahrt to the stage.
If I hold my finger up, I'm going to be crying. When you see that, I need a pause. And I'm going to read from the script. I hope. Greetings to all, and thank you for the kind introduction, Governor. I have no authority for what I'm about to say. My only claim to fame is that I am the father of a fallen Minnesota soldier, the 18th to die in Afghanistan since 2007. To all of you here in attendance, and to all of those who serve in the capital of the great state of Minnesota, I tender these following remarks. Each of you here today are, first and foremost, a human being. You are in all likelihood an American, and you are in all likelihood a Minnesotan. Each and every one of you can be described by height, by weight, by eye color, by hair color, by ethnicity, by gender, and by sexuality. You were born with these things. Not a single descriptor I have stated is a choice. Each of you has chosen a life arc. You choose with whom to associate. You choose your creed. You choose your politics. You choose your work life. These choices each of us make as humans, as Americans, and as Minnesotans. We had a son. He was gay. He didn't choose it. But he did choose as his life arc to serve in the Army with the 552nd Military Police Company. He died in Kandahar just 6 weeks ago. It was death by an IED while on foot patrol. Around 10 o'clock that February Sunday morning, there was a knock at our door. And as I approached the door, I saw them, 2 Army officers in full dress. I knew what this meant. They asked me to identify myself, and when I had stated my name, they asked to enter our home. The news was delivered at our kitchen table, news that no one wants to hear. To all of you as Americans, to all of you as Minnesotans, I tell you that you can be proud of the American Army. They treated our family with kindness and with respect. They do not give up their dead easily. Our son had no significant other, but he did have a home and a family which never questioned his sexuality. It is, as I have said, not a thing about which he had any choice. And as his sister said, it was probably the least interesting thing about him. Having no significant other, his mother and I were named as his beneficiaries in the event of his death. I can tell you that a dead soldier is worth $100,000. In Canada, it is $250,000. And if you're a banker on Wall Street, your bonus is in the millions, and the bailouts are priceless. The Minnesota Family Council is raising something in the neighborhood of $4.7 million in order to promote a ballot referendum to place an anti-gay marriage constitutional amendment on the 2012 ballot. You can see that $100,000 stands no chance against the collections from the church pews or $100 dinner entrance fees. They believe marriage is endowed with some sacredness, and indeed, it may be within a creed, and a creed, as you recall, is a choice. They believe that marriage should be between one man and one woman, and I ask them, how will that be judged? I challenge the one man, one woman champions to define manliness or womanhood. Will you, as a human being, as an American, as a Minnesotan, be asked to open your trousers or to have your skirt lifted when applying for a license to marry? And what will they do with the androgynous, the hermaphrodites born into this world? Again, this is not a choice. Will the androgynous be allowed to marry themselves as man and woman? Many of the founding fathers were deists. They were derived of European stock, and they knew all too well how religion within a political sphere was a corrosive thing. They turned to the Native Americans, in particular the Iroquois Nation, to help them form a model of government that would intentionally separate powers and intentionally separate religion and state. Their model was a secular one. So let us go back to that Sunday 6 weeks ago. Let us human beings, us Americans, us Minnesota, assume for a moment that it had been a significant other to our Andrew who had answered that door. Would there have been a death benefit? Would there have been a chance to go to Dover to receive his remains? Do you, as human beings, as Americans, and as Minnesotans, believe this denial of civil rights to be proper and just? To deny civil rights, including the right to civil union, to this soldier son of ours, whose life was given in service to this country, is to cast shame upon us as human beings, as Americans, and especially as Minnesotans. We are better than that. I know we are, and we must make a change. We can choose to be a Minnesotan, we can choose to be American, but we cannot choose to be human. And that takes us to inalienable rights. The very civil rights our Constitution is intended to guarantee. Let us not stumble into the folly of discrimination. Ours is a secular society for a reason, and that is to prevent religious doctrine from clouding our commitment to equal rights. We have not conquered all our difficulties. We have not resolved all of our social ills. We continue to make choices about change. To the immigrants among us, I say welcome. Help us change. Help us with our melting pot. Help us embrace the mosaic of life we humans represent. My son's ancestors immigrated here, and I have not forgotten. To the Minnesota legislature, I ask that you stand tall on principle, on civility, and on the Constitution of Minnesota. And I quote from the Minnesota Bill of Rights, Section 2, Rights and Privileges. No member of the state shall be disenfranchised or deprived of any of the rights or privileges secured to any citizen thereof, unless by the law of the land or the judgment of his peers. I hope my son didn't die for human beings, for Americans, and for Minnesotans who would deny him civil rights. If any anti-gay marriage amendment succeeds, I give you my vow that I will fight it to the Supreme Court of Minnesota. In order to answer the question of what is a man and what is a woman, I thank you. But mostly I thank my son, who may be a better human being, a better American, a better Minnesotan. Be good to those you see today. It's the grace of humanity. Thank you.